Simon, you know this man, I know this man, but not as well as you do. West Brom have sacked Steve Bruce following the Baggies' plunge into the bottom three. Was there any other decision to be made? 3 defeats in 4 games have left West Brom 22nd in the Championship, the lowest league position in 21 years. He's actually won just 8 of his 31 games in charge since he succeeded somebody else, Valerian Ismail, as boss in February. So it hasn't gone well. It was a matter of time. And is now that it? Do you think that's it for Steve?
Well, I'd be surprised if it isn't. I mean, he talked about it not potentially being it after the Newcastle job, and that might well be because the experiences towards the end when it got very personal with certain sections of the fan base. And then the West Brom job came up, and he talked about the opportunity of going to a football club that he could rebuild again. It's very difficult, to argue the case for Steve. I was arguing it in terms of last week's debate about the fact that we're in these games, and most of the games they play in the dominating possession, but you can't take a team whose aspiration was to get into the Premier League and put them fourth and bottom in the Championship over a sustained period of time and ultimately expect those above you to remain resolute that you're the right guy.
Yeah.
And when you see altercations, last week I saw Alex. I've known Alex since he was a little boy when he was at Palace with his dad, and he's a really good young man. But when you see them getting involved in altercations with the fans, you start to see the writings on the wall. You need a result. Last week they played Preston. They got 20 shots on goal, 60% possession, lose 1-0. Saturday they're pretty dominant again in the game. So it was Seam, and they draw 0-0. So I do think that this may well be the closing curtain on an interesting managerial career, because it started off with people being very accusatory of his loyalty towards bouncing around between jobs, then an altercation with me, then some success with Birmingham, then becoming a person that gets your team out of the Championship into the Premier League, then doing well with Sunderland, and then we've now got this. And I think ultimately it probably is.
Well, he was a fighter. He wanted to fight on right until the very end. This is a man, Graeme, since 1999 has managed Sheffield United, Huddersfield, Wigan, Palace, Birmingham, Wigan again, Sunderland, Hull, Villa, Sheffield Wednesday, Newcastle and West Brom. A goalless draw with Luton on Saturday. Enough was enough, said the board. But Steve wanted to fight on.
This club has been in the Premier League or at the top end of the Championship for 20 years. And that's what it expects. And when you fall below that, very difficult. The team give everything they've got. They did. They give everything they've got. We were lacking a little bit of quality at times in the final third. However, I've seen a team absolutely determined to keep a clean sheet, what we've been talking about for a week. And whether I'm in the dugout next week, I hope so. And I'll try my best as normal.
I feel for him to a degree, Graeme. There's Darren, one of many West Brom fans messaging in this morning. Appointing Bruce in the first place was a massive step backwards, showed no ambition whatsoever. The bloke is probably a really nice fellow. Well, Darren, he is. We know that. But unfortunately, he's a bit of a dinosaur football-wise. It's cruel. It's tough for Steve to hear that, isn't it?
Well, if you can get to a certain age, and that's the modern term to call someone who's vastly experienced, he's a dinosaur. If it doesn't work out, he knows his way around the leagues and getting promoted. He knows his way around football, so he will have known this was coming down the road. They made a bad start going back to last year, and the writing was on the wall. And he's a big boy; he'll take his medicine, and whether he chooses to call it a day or go on, I know him. Wouldn't profess to know him really well, but I think you might see him again pop up somewhere.
You think?
He's got a track record of getting people up, but this has not been a good experience for him.
I think in the eyes and the minds of people, when you come out of people look back on your last 2 jobs and they'll look back at the Newcastle situation, and then they'll look at a 25% win record at West Bromwich Albion, and he may well come back. He may well be the case. I'm not entirely sure whether that will be amongst what we would consider to be one of the elite clubs, i.e. one of the top 20-30 clubs in this country, which West Bromwich Albion you would think would feature in it because they've been in the Premier League more times than not in the last 15-20 years. I think probably Janet, his wife, and the circumstances that surround his life and the financial position that he's in will say that'll do. But like anything, you're a long time retired, aren't you?
Yeah.
Graeme decided when you were early 50s that football was enough for you at management level. Maybe Bruce, you will reach that situation now when you see fans' reaction towards managers in this day and age.
I had a chat with him 3 months ago in Portugal, and I think his wife actually said, I think I may have asked the question.
One about the house.
He said, is it not about time he...
Yeah.
No. I want to see the back of him. I want him out the house. So
Really?
maybe she's the driving force.
Maybe. Maybe.
Yeah. Well, Steve Bruce,
1,000 games.
No longer carrying on as West Brom manager. 1,000 games. I mean, it says a lot.
1,032
doesn't it?
games is not bad, is it? It's not
I mean,
bad
that's one
career,
hell
is
of
it?
an achievement, that. But is it time up for him? I've asked Steve to come on. You know him, Simon, so do I. No reply to that as of yet. So we'll see between now and 1 o'clock. If he wants to join us, he's more than welcome. Not the best morning for you, Steve. We totally understand that. West Brom fans, he's gone. Many of you wanted him out, so you've got your way. So who do you want in? 03717 223344 81089.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.